Hello, my name is Esane, and welcome to the first episode of some Esane Diaries, where I want to talk about how I traded in the chaos of my London city life to, chasing multiple highs every weekend, to an extreme low of moving back in with my mum and starting from the beginning again. I thought it'd just be nice to document this for myself, and hopefully someone else can maybe learn from my mistakes. Maybe they're not mistakes, but I guess this is something that we'll find out together. I just thought it'd be nice to document it, basically. But yeah, I left London a week ago now. So it's currently the 24th of July, 2025. And the reason I left London was because I kind of was just I was running away from multiple responsibilities, just because I was addicted basically to going out and having a good time. And there's nothing wrong with that. I had so much fun, and I, made so many memories and stuff like that. But also half the time I wasn't making memories because I can't remember these nights out. And it gets to a point where it's like, why are we constantly going out? And I've been someone that's, I'd hope to think, very self-aware, but also likes to ignore what I know. I had a lot of fun, but it was time for me, I think. I moved to London in 2022 to make music. I've been studying for 3 years, but I've barely gone into uni. And I was out pretty much every weekend. I was making some really toxic relationships with people I probably shouldn't have mingled with. And I just knew a lot better. I knew I could do myself a lot more justice than what I was doing, and I knew that I didn't have the self-discipline to stay in London and work towards my goals. I also wasn't feeling inspired in London. I don't know if anyone else is a creative, but sometimes, I don't know, for me this city was a lot. It was overwhelming in a good way, but it was still overwhelming where like my thoughts felt very clouded. I couldn't properly think straight, and I had gotten used to talking to people about stuff that was happening, which is so fine. But I was talking to everyone about these issues, and what happens with that is I'm allowing a lot of other opinions to come in before I've made my own opinion about a situation. And like kind of similarly, it happened when I had made my decision to leave London. A lot of my friends were like, why are you doing that? That's such a silly idea. Like, you're going to be so bored in the middle of nowhere. You're going to have nothing to do, and like, you're going to have no one to see. And, it's going to be really difficult, and you're going to hate living back home with your mum, and like every excuse under the sun. But because I had already made my own decision, I wasn't really influenced by those kind of opinions. And I'm actually really happy I've moved home. It's very difficult. It's already been a week and I'm struggling to find a job. It's a very different lifestyle change. Like, it's Friday tomorrow. I want to go out. I want to get a drink. I want to put on a little cute fit, but I can't unless I get the train to this to the nearby city and go to the club, which I probably won't do because how am I going to get back? It'll be like a £50 Uber, probably even more, and at the moment probably cannot afford that. So yeah, I wrote some notes just so I stay on track because I tend to ramble. But yeah, no, I think what broke me and what like made the decision was as well, like I was like flat hunting. I feel like no one talks about this. I was flat hunting because I've been in student accommodation for the last 3 years, and every place it was just like weird. Like, why am I looking at a flat that's like extortionate pricing, bearing in mind, like, and like I wasn't looking at like extremely cheap either. Like, extremely cheap to me before I moved to London was like £500 a month. Like, if your rent is £500 a month, that's considerably cheap, you know. Like, on a normal salary I would expect that to be, you know, like a livable wage, you know. Like, you've got £500 rent, probably around like, I don't know how much for like bills, but like it's not gonna be extortionate pricing, and then the rest of your wage can go on like, you know, maybe some other responsibilities and bills, but like you've got a good chunk to last you a month. Whereas like in London, you're getting paid like minimum wage most of the time, and then the rent is like, you know, a cheap rent in London is like £800. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was just crazy. And my budget was around like 750, and I was looking at these places, and I was like, this is not normal. Half, like, most, like a third of my wage is going on where I'm living, and why do I not feel safe about that? Like, I was walking into some of these places and I was like, I don't feel safe here. Or I was looking at places of like, and like I just didn't know the flatmates. I'd walk in and none of the flatmates would be home, and like it'd be difficult for me to get in contact with the flatmates to like see what the vibe was like. And it was weird. Like, I want to know who I'm living with, you know. Or like, I viewed this one place where I could see one of the flatmates, but she was like, I don't know anyone that lives here, you know. We kind of just all keep to ourselves. And like, the place was extremely dirty. I was like, what the hell? And like, there was like candle burn smoke marks on the wall, and I was like, I can't be chucking a third of my wage on this. And another thing as well, I have put myself in a considerable amount of debt since being in London, because again, I couldn't have a weekend alone, which is very vulnerable. I feel like that's something that a lot of people admit, but listen, I'm already at the lowest of lows. Like, I may as well be vulnerable online. Do you know what I mean? But I put myself in a considerable amount of debt while being in London, and that was another reason why I was like, let me move back home, let me start from fresh again, because I knew staying in London, I would just put myself in more debt because I wanted to go out every weekend. Whereas if I move back home, I'm still paying my mum bills. Like, I don't expect her to pay for me. I've got a single mum, and she works really hard, so I didn't expect her to just chuck a roof over my head because I've been irresponsible for 3 years. But still, it's manageable. And I think that's why I was like, I think it's time to leave. Like, the responsible choice is to leave London. I don't think I was ready. I don't think I'm ready to be an adult yet, and I think that's okay. Like, I think there's a lot of pressure, especially in your like early 20s, to like have it all figured out, and especially when you live in London, there's a lot of I found myself comparing myself to a lot of the people that were around me, but then I had to remind myself, and it was like hard to like actually like remind myself and have it sit in me. I don't know if you know what I mean, but like, I can tell myself something, but I'm not gonna like process it. I can tell myself something, but I'm not gonna feel it. And I would always tell myself, like, a lot of the people that I was like hanging out with and a lot of the people that were surrounding me have very different backgrounds and grew up very fortunately in very good positions that allowed them to afford to live in London without having to put themselves in debt when they were going out every single weekend. Like, for me, I was brought up with a single mum. She's worked most of her life, very long hours. She's an incredibly hardworking woman, and you know, and she wasn't able to support me. I had max student loan when I went to London, and you know, I think a lot of my friends that I went to uni with had like they didn't have to work that much alongside uni because their parents would be giving them money, and like that's completely okay. Like I'm not playing the victim card here. I'm just saying it was a very different experience to me, and because I was having a different experience, I found myself comparing myself to a lot of people around me, which wasn't right for me to do that, considering they had been brought up in a different, environment, a very completely different environment, and a very fortunate one, which was another reason why I was like, I need to leave, because I don't feel like I'm an adult on how I've been brought up. I don't feel like I'm an adult. Yeah, I'm not. I haven't got enough self-discipline to be here. And I know my mum was going to whip me into shape. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's why I left London. That's the true reason. And I'm happy here. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. My mum, we used to live in Bristol. I was brought up in Bristol, and then when I moved to London, while I was out there, she moved to the middle of nowhere, like literally countryside. Like the public transport here, eyebrow raise, major eyebrow raise. So that makes it very difficult to find a job, and I think that's one of my main stresses at the moment, is finding a job, because I have bills to pay, and I have savings, but I also have debts, and I also, as I'm starting from zero, have a lot of aspirations and dreams that I want to get started with, and especially when I'm sat in a room in the middle of nowhere, I have nothing to do. And to be fair, I have a lot to do, but because I'm in that rut at the moment, because I just want a job, I'm like not doing anything. I'm being very self-destructive. I was like reading a book like over the last few months. It's up there. I don't know what it's called. I can't remember. Indistractable, I think it's called. And it's like a yellow cover. I'm not too sure who it's by. And it talks about like how, being self-destructive, there's lots of like different methods of being self-destructive, and like procrastination is one of them, because your body doesn't want to do that. So your body knows that when you're doing something that's uncomfortable, sometimes it's good for you or something like that. It's a really good book. I should actually probably stop reading it again, especially before going to bed, because I have been doom scrolling before I go to bed. But yeah, there's a lot of things I could be doing, but hey, maybe something might come up soon. I've applied to a lot of jobs, and I keep getting declined, or I keep getting no response. So far, I've had 2 interviews, and I've been here a week. I've lost track of how many jobs I've applied for, and a lot of them I have to travel like an hour and a half public transport into the city to get to it, which is tough. Just realised, if you're watching this on YouTube, I look awful. Great. Anyway, but yeah, no, I'm excited. It's like a very like nervous, exciting new life that I'm about to begin. I have a lot of dreams. One of them is learning how to DJ. It's been something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, but I've just like, again, not given myself the chance to like really commit myself to it. And that's something I can do like without decks. Like I can build my songs and build my brand and stuff like that. But I think to properly start learning, I need a pair of DJ decks. And I'm not really in a situation while I'm unemployed to drop a considerable amount of money on some DJ decks. So currently I'm DJ deckless. I've got no DJ decks, and I just want to spin a wheel. I just want to spin a track. That's all my heart desires, is to spin a track. And Another aspiration of mine, another thing that I want to do while I'm here is learn how to drive. Oh my god, if I if I knew how to drive and I had a license right now and I had a car, this job hunting thing would be so much easier. Like so much easier. But because it takes me like, you know, twice, maybe 3 times the amount of time like to get anywhere and get to a job, it makes it so much harder for me to have like find a job. I've been looking at a lot of like work from home ones as well, but again, like I only really have retail experience, so those are a bit of a hard one to do. So, but yeah, moving back to the countryside though, it's been lovely. The peace, the quiet, ooh, it's something I have like begged for since living in London. I lived in student accommodation as well, so like that was chaos. And I lived in Wembley as well, so like, you know, every weekend, especially during the summer, there was always like a, you know, a concert or a match on that was like crazy. My like local Lidl was not my local Lidl. It was everyone else's local Lidl. Everyone was stealing the bakery. I was fuming. I just wanted a little sweet treat, and it was getting snatched from my bare eyes. It was so upsetting. And or like, I'm like really sensitive to like noise. So like I'd be like going to bed one night and like I can hear from like 10 floors up someone blasting their speaker, and it's like rap music, like heavy trap music, which each to your own. I don't particularly like that kind of music, so even more that irritated me when I can hear the bass and it's just like boom 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 through the walls, and I'm like trying to go to bed, and I'm like, it's a Friday night, I could be out right now having the bass pump through me in music that I do like, but instead I've decided to be self-responsible, and this is what I get. This is what I get in return. I was fuming. So yeah, the choir is lovely. The piece, the choir, oh, it's stunning. It's really something I absolutely love. And like the town is really lovely. I've like yet to properly walk around, but it's extremely different to what I'm used to in London. Like, being a gay guy as well, like I kind of feel a bit like I have to shield myself a little bit. Like I used to, when I moved to London, I think I dressed considerably feminine. I think over the last few years, my kind of style has changed, a lot more masculine. But even like when I walk out, like it's crazy how like I still feel a bit conscious, just because like I'm used to like leaving my house, well, my flat in London, and like looking decent, because so was everyone else. Like you barely saw anyone like walk outside to the shops in their pajamas, you know, like it would still be like a gym outfit or like athleisure kind of wear if you're popping to the shops, you know what I mean? Whereas here, like that's so normal, and I forget like that is a normal thing of normal day-to-day life. Like I can't pop to, as Cheryl Cole said, I can't pop to the can't pop to the shop for a pint of milk. That's how I feel, because I'm like, I feel like I'm overdressed to go to Tesco. Again, to be fair, all these problems that I've got are very like first world problems. Like it's really not that deep. But again, I just feel a bit conscious though whenever I leave the house to go to a shop, unless it's with my mum. Then I feel fine, because my mum will beat a bitch up. But I think it's just something I'll get used to. I think I just get really like self-conscious with new places, and when I feel uncomfortable, my body kind of unshuts down. And when there's something that's new to me, it's hard to adjust for me. But I'm just trying to stay positive and keep my mind strong. Currently, one of my favorite songs to listen to is "Milk" by Agnes. And when the chorus is, "I turn milk into butter and butter into money, and with the money, honey, I live the life that I like." Yeah, and I'm like, so tea. Currently, I'm turning the milk into butter. But then again, actually, I don't think I am turning the milk into butter, because I don't know, like, I need to call Agnes up and I'm going to go, where the fuck are you finding the milk from? Because I'm struggling to find the milk. I'm fucking struggling to find the fucking milk. Oh, I just want the milk. So then I can turn the milk into butter, and then the butter into money. So I can live the life that I like, yeah. Debt free and with a car. Do you know what I mean? Anyway. Another thing that, since moving back home and having nothing to do, I've done is pick up gaming again. I haven't gamed, and I had back when I was like a kid. Oh, I would fuck up Minecraft. I'd fuck Minecraft up real good, and I just haven't done that in ages since moving to London, and just like since starting like making music and stuff like that. Like I've got a MacBook now and stuff, so that's not been something that I've had time to do or I've had the access to. Whereas I've moved here, and my brother has given me his PS4, so I've started playing Dead by Daylight. Not good at it at all, but we can see. I've started playing Minecraft again, and I've started streaming Minecraft. But streaming is very different for me, because it's like having a live audience for 2-3 hours, and they're just watching you play games, and I have to talk constantly, even when I have nothing to talk about. But it's fun. I enjoy it, and like the little community that I've indulged myself in, is that the right word? I don't know. Are very supportive of that, so that's really lovely. And like they come into my streams, and they're like, hello, and they give me stuff to talk about, which is really lovely. So that's something I'm kind of want to pick up. But again, I can only stream from a MacBook. I can't stream Dead by Daylight or many other games because I don't have a PC. I don't have a capture card, which is the thing that like connects your PS4 to your computer to stream the PS4. I also only have a Nintendo Switch Lite as well, so then I can't even stream like Animal Crossing. I have people watch me play that, so that's that. But yeah, stuff that like sucks about living here though, like I don't want to admit it, but it's just very the quiet. I think the quiet is like a good thing and a bad thing. Like again, the boredom is crazy. Like I've got everything to do. I am just procrastinating this, like the stuff that I need to do. Like I could be spending all day today actually like applying for jobs or putting many a clothing item on Vinted. I could, be making my music. I could find an online course and teach myself some stuff. There's so many things that I could be doing, but because I know it's benefiting me for some reason, my body and my like self-destructive mentality of not feeling good enough at all times blocks me from doing that. Now, was something my therapist taught me is that, like, because she was like, do you know why you're coming to therapy? And I was like, I just feel like shit. She was be like, no, you don't feel like you're good enough. And I was like, I don't think that's it. And she was like, no, because if you felt like you were good enough, you'd be going for everything. And like, you have a outside layer of confidence, but like that's not within. That's just a cover that you put on. And I was like, okay. Read me the filth, eat me up, diva. And she was like, if you felt like you were good enough, you would go for everything because you believe what is meant for you will come to you, and because you're not doing that, you don't believe that you deserve it because you don't feel like you're good enough. I hope I've explained that well. And as much as like now I know that, it's still really hard to find the motivation to do all these things. Like, because I'm not used to that, I'm not comfortable with finding other ways to occupy myself. Like, you know, back in London, the 2 ways I would cure my boredom were going to work, out on the weekend, going out, you know, and that would cure my boredom. And going out would make me feel like I was worth it because I was intoxicated. And that kind of leads me into as well, like, since moving back home, it's been a week since I have drank any alcohol. So I'm a week sober today. It's been a week since I've had any vape as well. So I'm a week sober from that, which is lovely news. And I wonder how long I'll keep this up for. I did nearly break yesterday. I was messaging like my friend being like, might come down and see you. Might go out. And then I was like, let's be responsible. That's not going to help at all. So yeah, I'm trying out being sober. There's a lot of new things that are just happening in my life all at once, and I think I need to give myself a lot of credit for like keeping up and not being too stressed. Or maybe I'm potentially masking that stress. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think my mum's struggling with it a little bit as well, because she's obviously moved into this house while I was away in London, and didn't expect me to move back, and now I'm like, hello, I'm here, I'm back. And she's like, well, I've just gotten used to living alone for the last 2 years, and now you're back. And she's been going at it about the electricity and stuff like that, and how it's like an extra £1 a day, which is like so fair, because she's like used to like not being in, because she's always working. So like the electricity is that, like, I don't know, £1.40 when she gets home at the end of the day from just like the general like fridge being on and stuff like that. And then she gets home from being at work over the day, and it's like £2-3, and she's like, what the fuck? But I'm like, Mum, I'm literally giving you money, it's fine, chill out. And she's like, well yes, okay, don't tell me to chill out. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting that, and I'm like, oh, sorry. And I think it's also an adjustment of like her having someone home at all times. I think she'll be a lot better once I find a job, because like obviously she's used to someone not being here when they're home. But I'm trying to like make up for it by, you know, doing her washing and cooking for her if I can, and, you know, vacuuming up, looking after the cat, because again, I've got nothing else to do. So, but yeah, and as well, like, I'm like kind of like building a new start again as well, because I'm not exactly coming back to the room that I had before I left for London. I'm coming back to a completely different room. So it's like a completely new change. Part of me feels like it's not settled in yet. Like, part of me feels like I'm going back to London in like tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? I think once it settles in, I'll start to stress. But I think that's why I've not been stressing, is because I'm just like going to go back to London tomorrow. Mum's dropping me off at the train station. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not. I'm here for the foreseeable future until I make something of myself. So yeah. I just thought I'd make this podcast as well, just so I can document my life over the next year or two, because I think it'll be really lovely to look back, and I can look into the future with hope while looking backwards, if that makes sense. And I just thought it'd be really lovely for other people to watch me start from nothing. I'm literally starting from nothing. I've got no job. I've got barely any money in my savings. I'm in debt. And my music career is in shambles. So I think it would be really lovely and inspirational for, you know, someone else to maybe watch this if they feel like it, and learn from my mistakes. And yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I am streaming on Twitch if you would like to find me on there, my Instagram as well, if you would like to stay updated. And yeah, I hope to see you in a week's time with some fantastic news that hopefully I've gotten a job. Maybe I've gotten some DJ decks, or something else crazy has happened. But I will see you in a week. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble for a 30 minutes. I'm Esane, and yeah, thank you for listening to my first diary entry. Bye.